Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Hardcore Challenge Live, the official webcast of the Hardcore Challenge, the pinnacle of fantasy football competition. So thank you for joining me. Of course, we are on a little earlier tonight and typically not on a Thursday. However, last night, literally a minute or two before I was ready to go live for the Game of the Week edition that we typically have on Wednesdays, I had a special interview last night on the Raider Reaction webcast on my Raider Reaction page. It actually was the Mo, and if you haven't watched that episode last night, you need to go check it out, man. That interview was so cool. The guy I had on last night was the director of player personnel and scouting for the Oakland Raiders from 1983 to 2011. There is not a player within the last 3 decades that this guy didn't have something to do about signing. It was a very cool, full 60-minute interactive, no holds barred. It was a very cool interview to be able to sit down and talk to somebody that knows everything about the team that you love is pretty cool. It's very cool. He'd been with the Raiders since '78. He was Tom Flores' administrative assistant when he joined the team, and then became head of scouting. And it was amazing. It was an amazing interview, Mo. I'm telling you, man, you got to check it out. He had stories about when he was scouting Bo Jackson, behind the scenes at the Tuck game, about Al Davis playing billiards. He had Matusak stories, the draft, inside the draft war room of Marcus Allen. Half the room was divided one way. So it's very cool. So guys, I think any of you guys would enjoy it. It was just very cool insight and a cool interview last night. So if you haven't checked it out, it's on my Raider Reaction page. It's pinned at the top. Go check it out. It was very cool. But that's why I was late last night. He was having technical difficulty. And dumb luck, Mo. There was 3 of them. There's 3 co-authors, and the foreword of it was written by Gil Brandt. And I'm sure you know who Gil Brandt is. He was a famous coach, Cowboys, associated with other teams as well. But Gil Brandt did the foreword, and then there was 3: Bruce Kebrick, Steve Corcoran, and then John Kingdon, who I had on last night. The others were also confidants of Al's. The 3 of them wrote this book called Al Davis Behind the Raiders Shield, and it was just to sit down with him. I tell you what, T-Well, I had no idea until the second I hit send and he slid on. We were both so happy. I literally worked with him for 55 minutes. So this guy's in his 60s, obviously. He's a little technology challenged. And getting him and his wife to get on Facebook Live was a feat. 55 minutes, and when we got done trying to get him on there, we still didn't have him on the screen yet. And I was like, dude, I guess it's going to be an audio call. And by God, when I sent him the invite, shit, he slid on. I couldn't believe it. So it was very cool. Check it out. Mo, if you're going to order the book, or I got both posts up where you can get the book on the page. Don't use the Amazon link. Use the behindtheshield.net link, and you can get an autographed copy. You can request an autographed copy through there. So if you order it through that site. So check it out. As football fans, I think you guys would enjoy it. And you can get me and your vice president giving our picks for the week for the first half hour. So I'm sure you guys are going to kick out of that as well. But let's get into week 4 in the freaking Hardcore Challenge. Enough of that. What's really important is what is the game of the week, as we have week 4 imminent upon us. It starts in, 24 minutes? The coverage starts for it, kickoff shortly after, and the week is underway. Week 4, another exciting week in the Hardcore Challenge. It's been an interesting week in the Hardcore Challenge, to say the least. Political stances and whatnot. But this week, the game of the week takes place in the NFC. As a team that I looked at last week as a possible game of the week, and then come out and handled their arch rival with a very impressive win. So this week, we are picking them for game of the week, as Pack Attack is back, faces Skull Crushers. First place in the Great White North against first place in the Elite East. The 3-0, undefeated, number 1 in the power rankings. Black Attack is back in the NFC against Skull Crushers, number 4 in the power rankings, sitting at 2-1 and tied for first with Vandalay Industries in the Great White North. Corey, owner of the Pack Attack is back, has been in the league since 2010. He's never won a division. He's never made the playoffs. Gary, owner of Skull Crushers, been in the league since 2013. He also has never won the division and never made the playoffs. Both of these teams look hot in their new conference, and could this be the year for one of them? So they're facing off. This is a week 4. This is an early season matchup where both teams have just come out of their divisional schedule and are now looking at each other out of conference. So it's going to be interesting. This will be interesting. This will be interesting. Now, looking at Pack Attack is back against Skull Crushers. You got to look at the quarterback position first. You've got Matt Ryan at home against Buffalo for Pack Attack is back. Skull Crushers comes in with Russell Wilson leading the charge at home against the Colts. I think both are favorable matchups. They're both at home. The Colts is a much easier matchup for Russell Wilson, although the Seahawks have not been putting up a terrible amount of points. Matt Ryan has the possibility to absolutely scorch the Bills at home in their new Sphincter Stadium. I'm giving the advantage to Matt. I can't call him Matty Ice. It just makes me want to throw up in my mouth. I got to give the advantage to Matt Ryan with Pack Attack is back for this one. So advantage quarterback, got to give it to Pack Attack is back with Corey at the helm. Now, running back position, this is interesting. You've got Pack Attack is back with Hyde and Kamara at their double combination. And then you've got, on the other side of the ball, you've got Ezekiel Elliott, Dalvin Cook. Zeke has not been what everybody thought he was going to be, but he's playing the Rams at home. The Rams do have a solid defensive line, so it could be interesting, but I think you got to give the advantage at the running backs to Skull Crushers. So we got quarterbacks for Pack Attack is back, Skull Crushers with the advantage at the running back position. Now, wide receivers. Pack Attack is back, had Stephon Diggs last week on probably the greatest game he will ever have in his freaking life. I played the guy in the other conference in the AFC that had him as well, and he handed me a loss. Now, he's not going to go for 173 yards and 2 touchdowns again. Golden Tate is not going to have a game like that. He's playing the Vikings. Now, on the other side of the ball, you got Parker for Miami, Williams for the Chargers. Both are at home, one against New Orleans, the other against the Eagles. I think Pack Attack is back. Wide receivers come back to reality. And I'm going to call this one a wash. I don't see a huge advantage. I think all of their wide receivers are going to be fairly pedestrian and low double digits at best for any of them. So I think that's going to be a wash. Now, tight end position, Bennett for Green Bay. As for Pack Attack is back, I see as a huge advantage over Ertz for the Eagles. At the Chargers, I just don't like the matchup. But I think the Chargers are due to have a game. So, we'll see. We'll see. But I'm giving the advantage at tight end to Pack Attack is back. Now at the flex, Corey is going with Matthews, wide receiver, Tennessee. Whereas Skull Crushers currently has the Duke in there, Duke Johnson, who's banged up running back for the Browns. I'm a little concerned. He has been in practice, but it's been light practice. So I got to give the advantage of flex. I'm not sold on Duke for this week. I think they're going to have a rough game against Cincinnati. I did pick them to win, but I don't think he's going to have a stellar game. So I'm going to give the advantage at the flex to Pack Attack is back. Now, kickers are always a wash. I know what a kicker's going to do. Defense. Is Corey going to go with the Ravens after their -5 performance last week? I dropped him and went and picked up the Saints, so I believe they're going to kill it against Miami in London. Because I think Cutler's going to have a Cutler day. I am dead set against staying with the defense the whole season. Defenses are matchups, and it's all about points. It's all about holding teams to fewer amount of points, and I don't think it's a good move starting the Ravens D. I dropped him. I'm giving the advantage at defense to Skull Crushers, who's carrying the Packers. They're playing the Dolphins. Have you met Jay Cutler, their quarterback who just took a big paycheck just so he could play 1 year? You really think his heart's in it? His heart wasn't in it when he was trying to earn a job. He's going to go over to London, and he's going to be serving up interceptions all the field. You watch. You watch, Corey. You watch. You're going to say, man, I should have went and got Saints defense. You'll. Now, individual defensive players. Pack Attack is back as Khalil Mack. Wagner for Seattle. Waynes, defensive back for Minnesota. And Humber, linebacker for Buffalo. Against Campbell, defensive lineman for the Jags. Smith, linebacker for the Jags. Tyrann Mathieu, defensive back, Arizona, and Mosley, linebacker, Baltimore. I'm giving a slight advantage at the individual defensive players, mostly because of, I think, Mack and Wagner both have the possibility of having big games this week. Wagner's got the Colts at home. I'm giving the advantage to Pack Attack is back. I think this is going to be a fairly close game. I think the scores are going to be down for both of them because I think both of their wide receivers are going to become pedestrian in this game. I don't think they're going to be putting up the scores like they've done before. I just don't. I'm picking the Pack Attack is back to win it in a very close game. I think the scores are going to be down. I don't think that you're going to have the big, huge game of the week score. But I'm picking the Pack Attack is back. Every time I pick Corey, he horribly disappoints me, though. So we'll see if that doesn't happen this season. So joining us, we have owner of Pack Attack is back, Corey. What's up, Corey? Maybe we got like a version of Corey.
What's up? Huh?
There we go.
There.
So, how do you feel about your matchup this week in Game of the Week?
I think it's going to be tough. I don't know. I think it's going to be tough, but I thought last week I was going to get beat, and my team turned it up. So because the week before my team laid a big duck, so I mean they didn't turn. They only scored 120 points the week before. So
there's nothing worse than laying a duck. Well. Whatever the hell laying duck means, but
yeah.
It's got to be bad.
You know what I mean? They didn't do what they were supposed to do. But no, I don't know. I think this week, he's got a lot of the defenses he's playing against. I feel like he's got a lot better matchups than me. So, I mean, I don't know. I think it's going to be a close matchup, but.
Yeah,
I
think it's going to be a close matchup. I think you guys' scores are going to be down a little more than you guys have been, but I still think it's going to be a close game. I'm picking you to win. I think you're going to go to 4-0. We'll see.
I hope so.
We'll see.
I ain't going to talk too much, though, because every time I do, man, shit goes south, so.
So is there anything you want to say to your opponent? You have the floor. Is there anything you want to say to Gary, owner of Skull Crushers? He's leading the Great White North. Neither one of you guys have made the
Well,
playoffs, so this is an interesting matchup.
Well, I guess the biggest thing, he talked some shit on me about picking David Johnson in the first pick. So I would really like to beat him just so I can prove that rest of my picks were better than his. So we'll see.
We'll see.
But
We'll see. Well,
yeah, we'll see.
You're the game of the week this week. You're 3-0. You're kicking ass so far, so
Oh,
congrats.
your connection.
You're number
You're
one
breaking
on
up.
the power rankings.
I got
too,
bad
by the way.
connection.
Number one on the power rankings.
Yep,
You're doing well thus far.
number one. I don't know if I've ever been number one at any time in the season.
I don't think so. This is rare air for you, Corey. This is rare air here. Enjoy it while you're up on top. Because remember last year, Pale Horseman got out to what, like 9-0, and I don't even think they made the playoffs. So.
Yeah, I know. That's why I say I'm not going to talk too much shit yet. But I don't know. We'll see.
It can happen.
We'll see.
We'll see. All right. Well, good luck this week. Thanks for joining us. We'll keep.
Roger.
So, thanks for joining us. There's Corey Courtney. He's your one of your Game of the Week participants this week. In Game of the Week, Pack Attack is back. Leader, 3-0 of the NFC Elite East. Taking on leader of the Great White North in the NFC, Gary with the Skull Crushers. It's going to be an interesting game. I think it's going to be a tight game. So far, I'm 3-0 in my Game of the Week picks. I'm going with Pack Attack is back. Don't disappoint me, Corey. Every time I pick. Last year, you did this to me, too. I went back and watched. And last year, I was undefeated in my Game of the Week picks until I picked Corey. And he failed me. And he ruined my perfect season. So, don't do it again, Corey. Oh, I'm counting on you. I picked you. You're hot. You're the number one team in the league. So, we're rooting for you. But Gary's a tough opponent, so you better be ready. That's it. We got football ready to start. Broadcast starts in about 11 minutes. And I will be back later on Raider Reaction. But thank you for joining me. It's week 4. Some of you are in trouble. Some of you are 0-3. Some of you are 1-2 and you're worried. You need to get back to 500 win this week. Some of you are 2-1 and no, just like me, you win this week, you're 3-1. That's a heck of a lot better than 2-2. And you undefeated teams, you know you don't want to drop that first loss. Everybody's coming out of their divisional games. It's the first conference games. It's a big week in the Hardcore Challenge. Are you ready for the challenge? Good luck. Game on.